Back in 2021, it was said that the upcoming Garmin Instinct 2 dual power solar watch would be using an e-ink/e-paper screen. Upon further investigation, to our surprise, when this was commercially released, it actually ended up not going with e-paper, instead went with a style of LCD LED known as MIP, which is Memory in Pixel. Memory in Pixel displays work almost exactly like e-ink displays in that they only consume power when each pixel needs updating. But once the pixel produces a color/image, it no longer requires any power to stay in that state. So I guess we should count ourselves lucky that they're not going with a black and white monochrome LCD panel, instead are employing a little bit more technology behind e-paper alternatives. Which moves us on to the watch itself. This is the Garmin Instinct 2 Solar Smartwatch. It is one of the only consumer electronics using e-paper alternatives to have an advertised unlimited battery life via its solar panel on the front. However, unlike the Fossil, Skagen, and Sony, this most definitely isn't built for fashion. It's utilitarian, rugged, and basically has no pleasing aesthetics to it whatsoever. It's a purpose-built machine loaded with GPS, Bluetooth, thermal, shock, and water-resistant capabilities, all with one of the greatest names in GPS backing it, Garmin. Looking over the watch as it stands, this isn't very nice looking in comparison to what we're used to. The Sony Fez watches, the Fossil, the Skagen, to a lesser extent, things like the Gligo and the Xiaomi Mi Lab. This one is very industrial and has a very use case scenario of being very rugged and outdoorsy, so you get that immediate feeling. And to be completely honest, given the price you pay for this, it doesn't feel like it should be that expensive. Now, there is a lot of technology behind this. There is the MIP, there is the solar power, so you get a huge amount of benefits from a technological standpoint, but from an actual aesthetic standpoint, you just get this silicone band and you don't really get much else. It actually looks a little bit more on the childish kind of blocky, bulbousy form factor rather than a sleeker fit and finish. We'll start with the buttons on the top left. Pressing it once turns the light on and off. When you do turn it on, you do get this highly reflective purple hue, so it's not actually that great to turn on. Obviously, if you are in complete darkness, you require the light, but for the most part, the reflectivity of the pixels themselves pretty much have you covered at most angles, and as you see, we can shine it in the light itself, and for a gloss screen, nothing's actually lost. It's quite remarkable that you can see everything even with an intense light shining off of the front of the glass lens. Pressing and holding the light button will allow you to go through the control here. You have to press up and down to cycle through all the things you want to change, and everything's going to be on the little second screen there. So the battery, the light, the do not disturb, lock, battery saver, and you have your wallet where you can connect various things via your smartphone to this unit. Pressing the up or down button once is going to bring you through your cycle of basically your quick things. So your notification calendar, heart rate, steps, all the things that smartwatches are kind of known for, your go-to elements, so to speak. You also have your weather if you connect it to your smartphone. Then this one's very interesting, the solar intensity. Why this is useful is because if you have it outside, you will actually get exactly how intense the solar was and the amount of sunlight that's actually hitting the solar panel on the front, and this is a very good way to kind of check if you need more charge or if it hasn't been very sunny, although you can kind of just eyeball the sky, and if it's dark out, obviously the last 6 hours will be of no use to you. Pressing and holding the up button will go to menu, in which case you can change the watch face, which we'll come back to in a second, history, activities, apps, appearance, and then sensors and accessories we'll touch on. If you go to sensors and accessories, this is where you're going to have your wrist heart rate, your blood oxygen tracking, your compass, altimeter, barometer. There's a ton of things here, and you can actually change them to be on your quick nav. This device is all about battery longevity, power, how long your battery's going to last, the solar power, of course. That's really the draw of this unit. That's where the value is. So you can see with the different power modes, you can have max battery, you can have ultra track, you can have jacket mode, and you can even add and customize different modes. And depending on what you choose, you're going to have a different amount of time left. For example, this mode's going to have 33 hours. If you go up, you can go up to 70 hours, and you can turn things off or on, blood oxygen on, heart rate off, steps on, steps off, etc., in a combination of everything to change your amount of time remaining. But to be completely honest, this does charge extremely quick in the sun, so you really don't need to worry too much about having everything on. Even if it's in its kind of base state, you still get about 56 days with everything on. Pressing and holding the down button where it says ABC, that's when you're going to get into some cool stuff. This is where your compass is going to be, and as you change it, you'll see that it will change the direction as well. It'll say south, it'll say east, and what have you, whichever way you're facing. It's quite accurate actually, and requires no calibration. It's pretty phenomenal. Like we said, the technology behind this and the actual function, more so than the appearance, is the priority of this unit. If you press down, you get your altimeter, you get your barometer, you get how much rain there's been, you get your sunlight tracker. There's a lot of cool features on this, and it is pretty much exactly what you would need if you're going out into the outdoors. Once you have your direction, how high you are, your elevation, I mean, there's not much more you could ask for outside of utilizing your phone, and none of these need to be connected to your phone in order to work. Pressing the button on the top right one time, you can choose your activities. We're not going to go through every one of these because there's about 60: virtual run, indoor track, walk, hike, climb, bike, just about anything you can think of. E-bike and a regular bike and a cyclocross and a gravel bike. So they really do account for pretty much any circumstance with about 55 to 60 choices. If you ever get too lost, you can press and hold the GPS button, in which case, no matter where you are on the planet, it will acquire satellites, and this doesn't take long, and once you do press and hold it, it kind of calibrates it for you, and you can get back to work. And it says it's stronger outside, away from any trees, tall buildings. It always comes up with that alert, and then you can go back and you can continue using all of your GPS antenna required services. Pressing the back button once doesn't do anything because this is as far back as you can go, but if you press and hold it, you get into set. This is where you can do alarms, timers, stopwatches, you can do countdowns, alerts. This is where you're going to have most of your basic smartwatch things, like your stopwatch. You want to see how long you've hiked, you just go boop and away you go. It starts clicking away, and you can start and stop it. You get a little vibration note when it starts, and that's just very simple kind of inherent things you'll find on pretty much any smartwatch, both e-ink, non-e-ink, MIP, LCD, LED, anything. Circling back to watch faces, there are a lot of different watch faces here, and they're all really interesting, and they all show a ton of data. And why you want that is because with a watch like this, you're not looking for fashion. You're not wearing this with a suit and you're going, check out my watch, everybody, look how much money I have. That's not what it's about, although it does have a very high price tag. When you have something like this with already a rough and tumble exterior, big chunky buttons, multiple bezels with a whole bunch of labeling and a bunch of stuff written on it, you're not going for subtlety, so you really want as much data as you can possibly have. Sunshine, sunset, solar intensity, when you're charging, where you are, your steps. Look at all that data showed on there. This is a lot of different watch faces. There's about 15 or so, and they're quite well laid out, and pretty much all of them across the board are very easy to understand. When it comes to watch wrist size selection, this thing has you covered and then some, because the selection of where the latch goes right up to the body. It'll literally fit anywhere. You don't even need to wear the watch. You can wrap it around your backpack if you want to keep your wrist clean, if you're climbing or whatever the case may be. This thing really sticks on you, and it's that much more evidence that this thing is mostly catered towards use case scenarios rather than just look how nice my watch looks. It feels good on the hand, although it is silicone, so it is a little bit sweaty and a little bit stifling around this section, although you do have a fair amount of holes and ventilation when it comes to the latch holes here. On the back, you have a very high quality piece of glass that covers all of your sensors, your heart rate monitor, and your blood oxygen level via all these 6 sensors here. You also have your charger here. If you absolutely need to charge this and you have no sun, you can hook it up to a standard wall charger. And you have your serial number here inlaid into the body itself, and you will see that this unit actually is made in Taiwan, which is kind of an interesting thing to see more technology made outside of China. The Garmin Connect app is going to have everything you're going to need. Obviously, it's the required application to monitor everything and keep track of it all. The unit itself, as we explained, does have a lot of different GPS things that you don't need your phone for. You honestly don't need it for the compass, the altimeter, your blood oxygen level, of course. This is your diary, so to speak. It gets uploaded to here automatically. It'll show you your calendar, exactly what's gone through everything. We haven't used it to any extreme degree outside of just putting in some arbitrary details. But here you can manage challenges, your day, check out the news feed, synchronize your weather, synchronize your text, pretty much have everything here. There's a ton of stuff. So to our surprise and somewhat in our field, disappointment, they ended up not going with e-paper. But the MIP technology they are employing works almost exactly the same way as e-paper does. Pair that with an unlimited battery life and a near indestructible piece of hardware, you have yourself quite a product that will last you for quite some time. For GoodieReader.com and a review of the Garmin Instinct 2 Dual Power, this is Peter.